Just give me a minute. We'll mute the YouTube and then we'll get started. Okay, it's muted. Okay. So we'll do the Mangalacharana. Hare Krishna, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Ajnana Timirandasya, Jnananjala Shalakaya, Chakshurum Unmilitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam, Sthapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupaha Kadamayam, Dadati Spapadantikam. Vande Aham Shri Guru, Shri Yutapada Kamalam, Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha, Shri Rupam Sagarajatam, Sahagana Raghunathanvitam, Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam, Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha Krishna Padan, Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kantan Mustute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Namos Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay.
Mataji, can I have the YouTube link so that I can share it in the group?
Yeah, just give me a minute. YouTube link, 1 minute. Control C. There you go.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much.
Okay, welcome. So this is, let me pull the just give me a minute. Let me just pull the.
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
It was there, but now I don't see it. Where did it go? Okay, pull it out again. Okay. Yeah. So is my is the slide visible?
Yes, Mataji, it is visible.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So today we are going to be looking at chapter 8, which is called Attaining the Supreme. And this is a very beautiful chapter. It kind of, gives us the importance of being steady on the path of devotional service. Devotional service, and just before I came into this class, I was doing, the overview class for level 1. I was telling them that devotional service is not something that can be done as a matter of convenience. It's not that I will take it up one day and then decide I will take a break for some time. It has to be something that needs to be inculcated as a steady path, and it has to be a habit. And habits are not difficult, but they're not easy either, which means we have to constantly endeavor to do certain activities repeatedly. Only when you do it repeatedly will you feel it just as much as it is as you do your other activities of life, like waking up, brushing your teeth, doing your other activities that are necessary for you to get started for the day, and also going to bed, which comes so naturally. So therefore, bhakti also needs to be done as naturally as the waking up and getting to bed processes are. And that is what you kind of we are going to experience or going to study or read together in this chapter. So let's do a quick recap of your chapter 7. I hope all of you recall what you studied in chapter 7. Hare Krishna. Does anyone want to give a quick summary of what you probably covered in chapter 7? Anyone? Don't remember? Chapter 7? So chapter 7, the Lord, gave us the importance of hearing. There are a couple of processes of devotional service which actually help us to kind of engage in that activity in a very deep way. One is hearing, constant hearing, association with like-minded people to hear these things are very, very important for neophytes and for beginners. At least for me, I'm a beginner. So for me, it's very important that I stay connected with the association of people who are engaging in these activities. So hearing is very important. And then that is Shravanam. Then Smaranam, thinking about it, constantly doing that level of contemplation, that self-inquiry, that it's only through a process of meditation on how I behave, how I do things, how am I speaking, what am I doing in such a way that it really kind of mirrors with the qualities that are required for us to kind of remain on the path of bhakti. That level of meditation is very, very important. That contemplation, meditation, constant meditation through self-inquiry is the only way that we can inch towards going towards the goal of self-realization. We are all not, at least I am not somebody like a Buddha, I am not a Valmiki, I am not a Vyasadeva. So we are not going to sit under the people tree and we become self-realized. So self-realization is something that we have to constantly, should be the goal. And we must see what is it that we must incorporate as ingredients that will help us to reach or at least inch towards self-realization. So knowing Krishna in full by hearing about him. And he also spoke about all these energies. He said the material world, the gross Mahat Tattva, is his inferior energy. And he said all the Jivatmas are his marginal energy. And he is the one who has all the superior energies which are spiritual. So therefore, even among all the Jiva Tattvas, the human being is the only Jiva Tattva that has the choice, that can make the choice. So we can make the choice to choose between the inferior energy and the superior energy. The human entity is the only entity that has the intellect. All other entities, all other Jivatmas, moving and non-moving, what do? They ahara, nidra, bhaya, maituna. That is, aharam is eating, nidra is sleeping, then bhayam is fear. They always live in fear. Who is going to attack? Where is my, where am I? Where can I attack somebody and who is going to attack me? They are always in that constant mode. It's a jungle kind of a situation. And the last is procreation. So they engage in those 4 activities. Whereas the human form has the intellect. So with the intellect, what do? We use the intellect to discriminate. That gives us the ability to logically reason out things. And to logically reason out things, we must keep our body and mind in good stead. That will kind of relieve or give space to the intellect to take the right course of action. Okay. So therefore, we have that ability to choose between the inferior. Do we want to live the world of dull matter? Or do we want to adapt ways and means to attain the superior nature, which is actually the eternal nature that every Atma is? So we can exercise the choice. So the Lord spoke at length in those verses about the Mahat Tattva and also the Jiva Tattvas, and also his desire for the Jivatmas to choose between matter and spirit. Then 7.15 to 7.19, he spoke about the people who are impious. So do you remember the names of those 4 categories of impious people? Hare Krishna. What are the four categories that he elaborates on that of impious? He talks about pious people and impious people. Who are the impious people? I think there's been too long a gap, no? Nobody has, no revision. Okay, the impious people. Yeah, very good. Yes, Mataji. Muda, yes, very good.
Muda is lowest among mankind.
Yes.
Then demons.
Yes.
One more I can't.
Nara Adama, it reminds you? Nara Adama.
Yes, Mataji.
Then Mayaya Paharta. Then Asuriya Bhava. Thank you, Mataji. Then do you also remember the 4 kinds of Sukirtinas? The pious people? No? I'm sure you must have got the example of Gajendra, then of Sukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, inquisitive, and the Jnani, right? So the Lord says, he, among all the 4, the Jnani is the best. And then he says, people depending on their desires, based on their vasanas, based on their, gunas, they kind of take to certain forms of worship. Some people surrender to the demigods, and others also kind of do impersonal worship, or the Mayavadi, which Prabhupada speaks extensively in his book. 7.26 to 7.30, he talks about the bewilderment of the living entity and his freedom through knowledge of. We are completely bewildered. There are 4 defects in every human entity. What are the 4 defects? What are the 4 defects of all living entities? We make
Right.
That's their mother. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. That is what our living condition is all about. But they also carry 4 defects. The 4 defects are we cheat. We are prone to cheating. We cheat ourselves. Why go? Leave alone cheating others. We cheat ourselves many times, right? We say, okay, I want to get up at this time, but then we say, no, last night, I slept late. So no, I think I deserve half an hour of extra sleep. And then we make mistakes because we're not perfect. We make mistakes. And then we also are covered by illusion. We are covered by illusion all the time. We don't see what we have to see. We don't hear what we have to hear. We don't judge things well, because we are constantly covered by illusions. And our senses are also not perfect. Right? So these are the 4 defects of all living entities. Okay. So therefore, the living entity constantly lives in his own imagination. And these imaginations are all born out of his vasanas and also out of the habits that he cultivates. And therefore, the Lord also spoke at length about what is it that will help such bewildered or illusioned entities to kind of attain the Supreme Brahman, that supreme abode of the Lord, by cultivating the knowledge about Krishna, because Krishna is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. He is all-pervasive. Okay. Now in this chapter, we are going to see Krishna's, Arjuna asks 7 questions. So Krishna answers those 7 questions. And then he answers a very important question of how does one remember Krishna at the time of death? See, doing things when we are in good shape is a great thing. But what do we do as our time draws by?
Practice.
Yes, very good, Mataji. So that is what is going to happen. We are going to read that in section 3 or 8.9 to 8.13. And then he's also going to talk about pure devotional service. How does one remember Krishna through Ananya Bhakti, Kevala Bhakti, and Eka Bhakti? Then he's going to compare why is it that we must aim for that superior format of of platform to the inferior platform, which is matter, and he's going to give us a comparison of the material world and the spiritual world and the glories of the supreme abode, which is the Goloka Vrindavan. Then the supremacy of devotion in attaining the supreme. Okay. So it's a short chapter, but it's really a very nice chapter. You must read it again when you have time. So Krishna answers Arjuna's question. So let's look at Arjuna's questions. What are they? Somebody wants to read these two verses? Hare Krishna.
Mataji, actually, I think the slides are not visible.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh dear. So sorry. Very, very sorry. No, the slides are not visible.
Yeah, they are visible now. Yeah, they are visible.
I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
Again, it has gone, I believe.
Again, it has gone. Why? What's happening?
I guess when you're doing full screen, it shows loading only. Don't do full screen.
Okay. Okay, 1 minute. It can't be like that. Can't happen like that, right? Let's see. Why is it this way today? Okay, just give me a minute. Let me just set this right.
Yeah, no problem, Mataji. No.
I'm so sorry. 1 minute. Let me reload it, okay? Is there any way I can download this? Start with present interview. Can you see it now?
Yes, Mataji, it is visible now.
Okay, great. Thank God. Okay. So this is what I was talking to you about. I was giving you a recap of the 7th chapter, went through the sections of 8th chapter that we will see now. And this is the section from 8.1 to 8.4 verses, where Krishna answers Arjuna's questions. Arjuna's questions go over 2 verses, and the Lord answers them in the subsequent 2 verses. Can someone read this? Hare Krishna, 8.1 and 8.2.
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Please. Hare Krishna.
Okay. 8.1, Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. 8.2, how does this Lord of sacrifice live in the body? And in which part does he live? O Madhusudana, and how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
Yeah. So Arjuna inquires, O Lord, Supreme Person, what is Brahman? Everybody knows what Brahman is, right? Then he says, what is self? The Jivatma. What are fruitive activities? What is karma? What is this material manifestation, which is Adi Bhuta? What are the demigods? That is Adi Daiva. How does this Lord of sacrifice live in the body? Adi Yajna. And which part does he live? O Madhusudana. So the word Madhusudana is very important because the Lord killed a demon called Madhusudana. So here when Arjuna addresses the Lord as Madhusudana, which means he says, please kill that ignorance that is still present in me. Oh Lord, I'm looking up to you to help me to come out of this devil or demon of ignorance. And how can those engaged in bhakti know you at the time of death? This is the 8th question, and that is what the 8th chapter is all about. Okay, so let's look at that. So this predominantly stems from the last 2 verses of the 7th chapter. So he says, Jara marana mokshaya mam ashritya yatantiye te brahma tad vidhukshtam adhyatmam karma chakilam. Then he says, Sadi bhuta adi devam sadi yagnam cha ye viduhu prayana kale api chamam te vidur yukta chetasaha. So there it ended, that particular chapter ended by him asking Lord, how do I know you? Or how do I kind of make sure that I kind of can remember you at the time of leaving this material body? And that's how the 8th chapter happens. Okay, so the questions are Brahman. See, the answer here is the Brahman is we are all Brahman. We are all part of the Supreme Brahman. The Lord is Parabrahman and we are Brahman. But doesn't mean that we are the same as a Parabrahman, because we are just that 1/10,000th tip of the hair. That size of the atom, or that size of Atma is who we are. So we are also spirit. We are spirit souls. That we saw in chapter 2 itself. We are spirit soul. We are not body. We are insignificant. We are perishable entity. And we are also indestructible. The Jivatma is indestructible. The body is destructible. Right? You read about that. Correct? In chapter 2. Hare Krishna. You've read about it in chapter 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Najayate mriyate vakatachit trayam bhutva bhavita na bhuyah ajo nityam shashvato purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It's only the sharira that can perish, but not the Atma. So we are Brahman, but we are not Parabrahman. But we are the eternal entity, living entity of that Parabrahman. Adi Atma, who is the controller of the body? The self. That is our we. We are the controller of our body. But along with our soul, we also have the super soul present in us. Karma is the fruit of activities. That is the activities that each of us will engage in based on the body type that we have. A body of cat will do activities that befits the cat. That which is there in a snake's body will do activities befitting that snake's body. Similarly, we also will do activities based on not only in the human body what we are supposed to do, but we also carry the mental impressions and the mental concoctions of our previous lives. These are called vasanas. And probably you will read them in detail in the next few chapters. But vasanas are basically material concoctions, material, all the things that we gathered from the previous life, which means all of us are carrying a bag. And this bag is full of things from our previous lives. That's why each of our bag sizes are different. Never ever, I always tell everybody in my classes, never compare yourselves with anybody, because each of our bags are different. The contents of our bags are different. The contents of our bag are different, and therefore each one of us is unique. So we have to compete with ourselves. We shouldn't compete with someone else, because you can't, because we are different. And not only are the vasanas that we carry, but we also create new habits by way of our, this life that we have, which comes by way of the values that we imbibe through our family system, through the association, that we have in the societies that we are part of, etc. So there are two types of karma that we carry. One is the sanchita karma, that is the karma from the past, and then the karma of the present is the prarabdha karma. Okay. Next is adi bhuta, the material manifestation, the mahatattva, that is the material nature. And we need to have the elements of the pradhana in us in order to be able to lead our lives in this planet that we are in. Adi Deva is a supreme demigod. Or this is the Virata Purusha, the universal form of the Lord, which you will read later in chapter 12, I think. Yeah. Okay. So everything is part and parcel of the Lord. The sun and the sun and the moon are the eyes of the Lord. The upper part of the body is the upper planets. The mid part of the body is the Bhurloka, where we are. and the lower part of the body represent a lot of other lower planets and lower entities. Okay. Adi Yagna is the enjoyer of the sacrifice. All that we do, anything we have is the Paramatma. We are doing it for the benefactor is a Supreme Lord, and the beneficiary is also from whom we get is the Supreme Lord, and to whom we give it back is also the Supreme Lord. I'm sure you probably remember the shloka. I think it's 4.17. I think it says Brahmarpana Brahmaharvil Brahmagnau Brahmana Hutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. The Brahma, the person who is offering it is a Brahman. The Havir is, I think, butter. The butter is Brahman. The ladle is Brahman. The Agni is Brahman. Ultimately, the consumption that happens is also the Brahman. Okay. So that is Adi Yagna, the enjoyer of the sacrifice. Where does the Adi Yagna reside? He resides in the heart of all. The Paramatma resides in the heart of all. How to remember Krishna at the time of death? It is by practice, like what one Mataji said. It's by regular practice. It's a marathon. Devotional service is a marathon. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavo Adhyatmam Uchyate Bhuta Bhavo Bhavo Karo Visharga Karma Samnitha. The Supreme Lord said, the indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called the Self. Okay. Action pertaining to the development of these material bodies is called karma. Based on whatever our past karma, we receive the body based on our past sanchita karma or fruitive activities. Next one. So that's why these pictures all show the different body types. That's why we have to respect every living entity. Please remember, because every living entity has gone through a certain motion, just as the way we are going through certain motion now. And that's why one who sees the living, he sees the Paramatma in everything, is a sage or a yogi. I'm sure you must have read it in the previous chapters. Adibhudam ksharo bhavaha purushas chadi daivatam adi yagno aham evatra dehe deha bratambara. The physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable, like what Mataji, Jara Marana. What did you say, Mataji? Jara? What did you say? You grow, you're born, you stay for some time, you have, and you end your life. There are 6 stages that every living being goes through. He's born, and then, he grows, and then he stays in that stage for some time. And then, there are diseases that come about, and then, he grows old and finally dies, right? The universe is a cosmic form of the Supreme. Everything is a Supreme Lord, and that Lord represented as a super soul dwelling in the heart of every living being. He is the smallest of small. He is present in the smallest of everything that exists in the universe and in several other universes as well. So the next section, remembering Krishna at the time of death. So one attains, the summary of the section is going to be, one attains whatever one remembers at the time of death. Krishna recommends Arjuna to undeviatedly meditate upon him, dedicate his activities to him, and thus attain him. Okay. 8.5. Antakale cha mameva svarana muktva kale varam yah prayati samadbhavam yati nashtyastra samshayah. And whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of that there is no doubt. Atra samshaya, there is no doubt at all. You will attain that, you will attain him if you are remembering him, if you are able to remember him at the time of leaving your body. Now, friends, it's easy, it's probably, it sounds easy, but it's not. Trust me, when, I have been through, near death experiences. At that point in time, especially when you face accidents and stuff like that, trust me, there's nothing that comes to your mind. Nothing that comes to your mind. Therefore, to remember something, even in the worst of situation, it needs practice. So it's only practice, just as they say, we always tell our children, practice makes you perfect. So we have to constantly practice. It's only by practice we will even do it, even when our senses are not in our control. Okay. It's just like, for instance, when you learn driving, once you learn driving, anytime you will not forget it. Similarly, when you learn swimming, anytime you get into the water, you will swim. So therefore, it is only by practice we will get it, even at the time when we are not in control of ourselves. So hundreds and thousands of living entities meet death at every moment. But a foolish living being nonetheless thinks himself deathless and does not prepare for death. See, we prepare for so many things. We take medical insurance, we take housing insurance, we take insurance for life. But how many of us have really ensured that we really kind of have that supreme, that insurance that gives us that place in the next life? We see death happening every day. We see things happening to us. We say, oh, it can happen to others. We don't think that, what if it happens to me? Am I prepared for it? We also go to the extent of, preparing deeds. What will happen after I go and all. But do you realize ever, what is it that's going to happen, once we leave this body and there is something more to life? Otherwise, think about it. Meditate upon some of these things, okay? This is what I've learned from many of the teachers who say that, look, understand there are varieties of life forms. What is it that they have done and what is it that I have done to get this life? So we need to be extremely grateful for the kind of life that we have, where we can make our choices. Never let go of this opportunity. This is the golden opportunity, the golden moment. It is now or never. So this is the most wonderful thing in this world. 8.6. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati antakale varam tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitah. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits the body, that state he will attain without fail. Do you remember the story of Bharat Maharaj? Hare Krishna. Anybody?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Somebody wants to narrate the story? It's a nice story.
Yes, Mataji. He, being the king of Bharat Maharaj, he went towards the forest to renounce his life through his penances to gods, and he saw a pregnant deer, and the fawn he adopted after the death of the deer, and he became so attached to that fawn that once he went looking for the little one and fell from a cliff and died and was reborn as a fawn.
Yes, Mataji.
So
Yes.
that attachment brought him back in that form.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. That's a wonderful summation of that story. Okay. So if something like that could happen to Bharat Maharaj, I shudder to think what will happen to me. 8.7. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha Maya arpitta manobuddhir mame vaishyasi asamshayah. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duties of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So, see, the Lord is not asking us to just always constantly remain doing only bhakti. He says, be in bhakti, but do your activities also, and that activity also should reflect bhakti. That is nishkama karma. Understood? Now, can you tell me why is nishkama karma so important? Hare Krishna. Why is doing duty without that sense of doership very important? Hare Krishna. Anybody?
Mataji, because we are...
service.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Ankita Mataji, you can go first, and then Kusumataji come.
Because if we go ahead and do perform our activities without any fruitive results, we basically, it's like a prayer to God, and we attain God through that action.
Very nice, very nice. Mataji, Kusumalata Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Mataji, it's a type of devotional service. Nishkam karma.
You feel it's a devotional service? Okay. Now let me also give you a psychological. Anybody with psychology background here?
Yes, Mataji, I did it in school.
You did it in school? Great. See, the moment you kind of, give away your attachment to thing, it makes you feel light. Correct?
Yes, Mataji.
We feel so nice when we are doing cooking prasadam for the Lord. right? Because you're doing for the Lord, right? The moment I do it to please somebody in my family, my child or my husband or my in-laws or my friends, then there is an expectation, right? And if it doesn't match up to the expectation, I get hurt, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, let's center everything around Krishna, because everything that is around us is Krishna. So when everything is Krishna, what belongs to us? What right do we have to put our claim to that which doesn't belong to us? It makes you lighter, right? It makes your bag lighter. Remember, always everyone is carrying a backpack. Think about, how do I make my backpack lighter on myself so that I can really walk straight and I don't slump and slouch. Okay, the Lord is also declaring the same thing. Everything that you do it for the sake of me, and just put everything on me and fix all your mind and your intellect on me. You will attain me without doubt, because you know. And I also tell all my in all my classes, the beauty of bhakti is like a sieve. Sieve, आटा जो छलनी यूज करते हैं हम घर पे, आटा रवा के लिए यूज करते हैं. It takes away the unwanted things, right? So bhakti is that sieve. It's a filter. It filters out unwanted things. Okay. 8.8. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati paratan chintayam. He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, Arjuna, is sure to reach me. So here again and again he is giving importance to mind. This mind is a fickle element. I'm sure, in the previous classes, mind is a friend and an enemy, right? Mind is chanchalam. It's always getting distracted. There's so many distractions. I mean, now, in the digital age, the distractions are far too many. I don't remember so much of distraction when I was growing up in my younger days, when we never had TV and when we never had these gadgets in our hands. But today, with all kinds of gadgets, with life having become very advanced with science and technology, the distractions have only gone higher and the memories have actually become less. In earlier days, we knew everything in our fingertips. Today, if I know, I go to Google Acharya. Google Acharya is always there for me. So we have become dependent on Google Acharya. 8.8. So this is, Lord Krishna stresses the importance of remembering him by practice. So somebody wants to go through this? Hare Krishna. Okay. Important is repetition of remembering Krishna. So you you need to give up everything for the sake of Krishna. Whatever you're doing, do it. But remember one more thing. I'm sure you must have discussed this in the previous chapters. Bhagavad Gita is all about excellence. Bhagavad Gita is all about attaining the best in life, doing the best in life, but well within the structure of morality, well within the structure of ethics. And clearly, the Lord refutes inactivity. He does not accept anybody to say, I will not do my action. No, because I am on the Bhakti Marga, I will not. Because Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it very clear. The only thing we can do is the japa. Because that is the only thing which will help us to disentangle us from the material, the material urges. So continue with the Maha Mantra. It gives you that bliss. It gives you that, that energy to do your activity. He doesn't accept anybody saying that I will not do my activity. And he also gives us, through this verse, how to think of Krishna in a practical sense. Yeah, do everything for Krishna. When you put everything on Krishna, you're automatically doing things for Krishna, and always you're having Krishna at the center of activities. Most effective way to remember Krishna is through the chanting the Maha Mantra. And I'm sure most of you are now chanting many rounds, and congratulations. You're really helping yourself. And importance of Purusha. The Lord is a real enjoyer. Ultimately, he is the Brahman. And everything that we are doing is Brahman. And we are also Brahman because we are part of that Brahman. Okay. Okay, section. Any question till the last two sections that we covered? Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any comments? Hare Krishna. Any questions, please? Am I too fast? Am I too slow? I don't know what was what is the style that you're used to. Hare Krishna. Am I too fast? Slow?
Mataji, it's
Hare-
perfect.
It's perfect. Hare Krishna Mataji, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Section 8.1, 8.9 to 8.93. The summary is remembering Krishna. To practice remembrance through meditation. What is the meditation we're talking about here? The Maha Mantra. So easy, isn't it? By meditating on Krishna and his qualities, or by practice Yoga Mishra Bhakti, that is doing your activity with bhakti, with devotion, one can think of Supreme Personality of Godhead when quitting the body and reach the spiritual planets. Now, Kavim Puranam, this is the qualities of the Lord that he's saying. Somebody wants to read the translation, Hare Krishna, 8.9.
I can go ahead, Mataji.
Yeah, hello. Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
yes, yes.
Yeah, one should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is conceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and being transcendental is beyond this material nature.
Yes,
Hare Krishna.
thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. He is Kavim. Kavim means he is. You can see the translation in Prabhupada's, book. Kavim means he knows everything. He's Trikaladarshi. He knows the past. He knows the present. He knows the future. He's Trikaladarshi. He's the oldest. He's Adi, Anadi, Ananda. He is completely someone who is blissful. He's the controller. He is the one who's created this world. He's the maintainer and he controls it also. Because this world, he controls everything. See, at the end of the day, all of us are impermanent. And that happens. Why does it happen? Has anyone been able to find out why death happens? Has anyone been able to prevent death? In as much as we try, maybe wealth to some extent can extend a life. You can keep a person in the hospital and have the best of facilities attended to the person and extend life. But can you prevent life from going away at some point in time? It will go. I always say wealth probably makes miseries easy or makes it feel easy. But at the end of the day, misery will be a misery. You should ask the person who's going through that kind of a process how miserable he is feeling by all these kind of medications that is being pumped into them. Because I say this because I walked a long journey with my father, who was Alzheimer's for 18 years. We did our best to do everything. But ultimately, when the time came, the ultimate happened. There's nothing that you can prevent. And he's a maintainer. He's beyond all material. He's achintyam. He's beyond, you can't even imagine. We can't imagine within our realm. What will we imagine of the Lord's position? He's inconceivable and he's always a person. That is important. He's a person. The Brahman form of worship is into void. That's what the impersonalists believe on. We don't have to go into that. I'm not getting into it. But to kind of feel the Lord, with all the goodness and all the rasas, all the beauty that he has. You can relate to the Lord in whatever form you want. You want to relate to him as a parent, you look upon him as your parent. You want to look upon him as your lover, that is Madhurya Rasa. Or you want to look upon him as your child, like the way Mata Yashoda did, Vatsalya Rasa. You want to look upon him like a friend, like Sudama, Sakhya. Or you want to look upon him like, completely be his servant, like the way Hanuman was. Do that. So you can relate to the Lord. So you have to relate to the Lord like a person, because he came with all his full energies at the end of the Dwapara Yuga in this very land that we are in. If you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, all the Devis and Devatas, they pray to the Lord, please give us a human form so that we can get, and we want to be born in the Bharata Varsha. The Bharata Varsha is the land that we are all in. We are so fortunate to be in this land where the Lord was. He says, we want to be there so that we can worship you. He is luminous. I mean, he's luminous. The sun itself, when you go out, you see the rays. You enjoy yourself, right? You see, oh, the sun is bright. The sun is really, we really enjoying the day to day. The moon, you enjoy the moonlight. You enjoy, the sunlight. Early morning sunlight is so nice, right? If one sun can be so, imagine the Lord. He is responsible for all the universe. He's transcendental. He's nirguna. We have all the gunas. We are affected by all the gunas, but he's transcendental. He is beyond those gunas. He is nirguna. He is beyond this material nature. Why is he beyond? Because he is the one who's created the nature. Why should we be part of the material nature? He stays aloof. So that's why many people ask, why do bad things happen to good people? Remember, it's our bag. Whenever such a thought comes, it will come now and then, because we are mortal souls, you see, it will come. Whenever that comes, remember the bag at the back. We're all carrying a bag. Okay, so this is what it is. He's Kavim, he knows everything. He's Puranam, everything is born out of him. He's Adi, Adi Purusha. Then he's Anushashtitam, he's the controller. He's Aniyamsham, smaller than the smallest. He's there in every living and non-living entity which is moving and non-moving. And then Dhataram, he's a maintainer. He's the one who's beyond conception. He's Rupam. It's always a person. He came in a human form. So why do we want to deny ourselves the fact that he was a human being, and we want to kind of connect with that person who came in the human form? Achintya, he's inconceivable. He's Aditya Varnam. He's luminous. He's full of all potencies. Then he's Tamasaha Parasat. He's beyond all these kind of material nature. He's beyond all the gunas. Okay. So think of Krishna. He is the absolute truth. Okay. It says refutes absolute truth is impersonal. Lord is actually personal. So let's meditate. Let's look. Let's love the Lord. Let's kind of engage in activities that kind of help us to kind of, increase our love for the Lord. Our scriptures, our religion is about love for God. Our religion is not about, fearing God. Many people say, oh, God, he's a God-fearing. Why do you have to fear God? He's all love. Why do we have to fear Lord? Love the Lord. Spend your energies in the love for the Lord. You will not only love yourself, but you will love everything that he has created around us. So love for God is what our scriptures talk about. Our scriptures don't talk about anything which is otherwise. Okay, so this is what all the Devi Devatas do. They're all the exalted people, and many of us pray to them as well. But they look up to that Achintya. They look up to that Adi Purusha. They look up to that Purushottama. They look up to that Yogeshwar. Okay. So Prayanaka Kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva bhuyor madhye pranam aveshya samyak satam paramam purusham upeti divyam. One who at the time of death fixes his life air between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga with an undeviating mind engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain the Supreme Personality. Now the Lord is talking about, you must have read about the karma yogi, the bhakti yogi, the jnana yogi, and also the hatha yogi, the dhyana yoga that you must have read in chapter 6. You recall, right? Dhyana yoga in chapter 6. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Chapter 6. You remember dhyana yoga? Hare Krishna. Nobody wants to talk. What happened?
Yes, Mataji.
You remember, na? Okay, good. So, Yoga Balena. So, Yoga Balena is very important. That's what Prabhupada gives importance to Yoga Balena, because on the base of active engagement in remembering the Lord, on the Balbhuta, that is on the Balbhuta of Yoga. Yoga of what? Yoga of Bhakti. So, here he talks about, this 8.10 is about people who kind of go through those, the Dhyana Yoga process, of attaining the Lord, the Shat Chakra, you must have heard of all that, right? Art of Living people, they kind of talk a lot about that, the Shat Chakra. So what do? They kind of they close all the various, openings of the body and control everything, get into that, that Pratyahara and all that, and then Dhyana, and then completely take that, go to the topmost chakra from where they can let out that air, which is there in the body, and attain that Brahman. Okay, so that is a very vigorous, austere form, restricting a lot of things and to attain the Lord. So this is one form. The Lord is not saying that you should not do this, but is this going to be easy? Is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 500 years ago said in Kali Yuga all these things are not possible. But the Lord is not kind of discouraging you. Somebody wants to go ahead and do that, please go ahead and do that. So here he says the yogic situation is that of detachment from all saying the yogi, the real yogi who practices that, that Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga and all that. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses. Right? This body is embodied within 9 gates. So closing all those 9 gates, fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head, one establishes himself in yoga. So is this something possible? Does anybody want to try this? Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to try this process?
No, Mataji.
No, Mataji.
Unimaginable, right? But there
Really
are people
difficult.
who want to do that, right? So the next slide. So he says, next, somebody wants to read this verse? 8.13.
Mataji, I'll read it.
Please.
After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets.
Exactly. So as all of you know, thank you, Mataji. As all of you know, all these planets, the higher planetary systems, also go through the process of annihilation. Right? You must have read it, right? In chapter 4, right? One kalpa of Brahma. How many yugas is one kalpa of Brahma? Anybody remembers? Somebody is getting a noise. Thank you. Somebody is very active in their house. Yay. Who's that? Okay. Thank you. Okay. So so he says these are people who really, they also see the Lord is not kind of discouraging any of us. We can do, if you want to do the Ashtanga Yoga process of Yama, Niyama, then Asana, Pranayama. And for Asana, you need the Kushagras. Where do you hunt for Kushagras? I don't know what Kushagras is. Where do you hunt for it? Pranayama, Pratyahara, then Dharana, fixing the mind. Fixing the mind, then 1 minute meditation. Many people talk about meditation. Trust me, is it possible for us to meditate in this kind of, in this kind of environment that we are living? At least in my house, I can't. Moment I sit even for 5 minutes, there's somebody at the door, or the phone rings, or there's a ping that happens from my laptop, or my own household people, they call me out for something. Is it possible? Where meditation? Can't sit down and read a book, peacefully for 2 hours. Where can one meditate? Anyway, anybody wants to try this, they can always do that. So 8.10 and 1.3, he talks about practices of Yoga Mishra Bhakti. This is called Yoga Mishra Bhakti. What is it? You're doing the Ashtanga thing, and all that you're doing it for the sake of attaining the Supreme Lord. Okay. So this is what raised the life air to Ajnana Chakra. It's called Sat Chakra Yoga. Then chant the mantra Yom. Then renounce sense gratification, particularly sex life. Then fix the mind on the heart. Because the Paramatma, the super soul is within, right? Fix the mind on the heart. And then fix mind in devotion to the Supreme Lord at the time of death. So it requires a lot of rigor. But the Lord here is saying, live your life well, but ensure that you're controlling all your urges, and do be a Nishkama Karma Yogi and practice bhakti all the time, which is easy, right? So attaining the Supreme, thinking of Krishna while quitting the body. Impersonal Brahman, that is what the impersonal is that we talked about. But a devotee, the destination for devotees is innumerable Vaikuntha planets. They only get some planets, but it's here. They're only getting, see, these impersonalists get into the impersonal, all-pervasive, there's that effulgence of the Lord. You are looking upon the effulgence, you will go and attain the effulgence. Whereas devotees, if we really kind of are able to, empty a bag, we have to do all our activities. The Lord is saying, see, he's asking Arjuna also to do his work. So we have to do our work. And how should we do the work? With complete determination and in the best possible way. And for such people, when we do it with no attachment or with detachment, our destination is definite in the abode of the various abodes of the Lord, in terms of the Vaikuntha planets that he has around the Goloka Vrindavan. So now this section, so we have completed that section. Any question on that section that we spoke of just now? Hare Krishna. Any questions, please? Or any comments? No? Shall I move on?
Yes, Mother.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So pure devotional service, remembrance of bhakti through remembrance of Krishna through bhakti. Then by constant engagement in devotional service, one who undeviatingly remembers Krishna. I think this is already covered. Why is it coming again? Okay, 8.40. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So apart from bhakti, there is no other way that you can really attain the Lord, either in the living, during the time we spend our life, or even after that. 8.15. Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam asashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanah shamsiddhim paramam gatah. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never turn to this temporary world, which is dukkhalayam and which is ashashvatam, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Okay. So why is this important? From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest are all places of misery. Heavens are at war. We know, we read all that, right? And all the Satya in the Treta Yuga, they also had all their own, wars and their own kind of things that they had to deal with. Now, Earth is forever at war. Each one is, either is a border dispute, or there is a civil unrest, or there is some other unrest in the name of caste, and that and this keeps happening. Earth is perpetually at war. Every country has some problem. There's no country in this Earth planet which is free of any kind of any form of misery. And we must remember. I know we're not great with the Chinese, but one thing we must remember: the Chinese say that history should never be forgotten. Many of my nephews and all don't like history. Ask them why. No, we have to memorize a lot. We don't like history. But if you don't know history and if you don't like history, you're going to make those same mistakes. So that's what, it's already there in our scriptures. The scriptures have given us so much of information. If we don't, take the nectar from this and, try and see how we can put them into practice, I think we are doing grave mistake to ourselves and to all the generations that we are going to probably be guided to. So from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So we don't want any of these. We don't want the higher planets. We don't want the mid planet. We don't want hell. Hell, imagine if Earth is so bad, what hell could be. So this is a section that we are moving to. Comparing the material and spiritual world, glories of the Supreme Lord. Prabhuji, how do you normally typically do the class? Do you do in one stretch and finish the section, or you do it in 2 days? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. We do it in 2 days.
Okay.
So we are working on chapter 8. So we split with the 2 days.
Okay. So you want to come back tomorrow at 8 o'clock?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
I have one question, Mataji.
Sure.
You mentioned about the nectar, because that's the biggest philosophy of the nectar. If you can elaborate that word, the nectar.
See, every concept is nectarian in the Bhagavad Gita, right from the setting up of the, I'm only going to cover till chapter 8, so I'll just tell you, I can go beyond, but it doesn't I shouldn't do it, So chapter 1 is about setting the ground. What happened? It was basically, the kind of disengagement that they had with their own family values led to this Mahabharata. It was not an ordinary war. It was a Mahabharata where the several people from several, places took part in this. That's why it's called the Mahabharata. It was greed for power, envy. So what is it that you take away from there? Greed and envy ultimately leads to misery. Ultimately leads to your own downfall. Chapter 2, what did we read? We said we are not the body, but we are spirit, soul. And we also read about the Siddha Prakti. It's important for us to really make sure that we are keeping our senses in check. Our senses are always dancing. They're always dancing. The mind is just not in control. So you have to keep your senses and mind in control for the intellect to work well. And in the third chapter, you said we cannot stay without doing that. Karma yoga. You cannot stay without not doing work even for, because everyone has their nitya karma, the kamya karma, the naimitika karma. You have to engage in some activity or the other. Even if someone doesn't engage in any activities, fruitive or non-fruitive, he has to get up and brush his teeth and eat his food. That is an activity by itself, right? Karma yoga. Then we talked about the knowledge, that this knowledge is not something that just happened on the field of Kurukshetra. It dates back to 311 trillion years. 311 trillion years and 40 lakh years. That's what Prabhupada he mentions in the purport. I think it comes in 8.17. Right? It's that old. So we are not inventing. We don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. Things are always laid out to us, on a platter. And the Bhagavad Gita is nectarian because it is sweet to every person at every age group and in every yuga. It made sense to my great-grandfathers. It made sense to my grandfather. It made sense to my parents. It is absolutely relevant to me now. It is also relevant to the new age of people who join our classes. There are batches that are there in the youth and children's batch as well that we do. It kind of resonates with the problems they face, with the kind of lives they lead. It resonates. Each one tells me that they are taking away something. So that is what is the nectar that the Bhagavad Gita gives us, and that's what I said, that we have the nectar. We have this great opportunity. There is some reason why we have all come together. It means we are. I keep telling people whenever I do classes, I say we are the chosen ones. There is a purpose. There are a purpose that we are here.
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And the purpose is what we need to. Each one has to understand and probably contemplate his or her own purpose. What is it that's brought me here? Why is it that at this point in time or this juncture in my life, I am reading these messages? That is what we need to meditate upon. That meditation is what I talk about meditation. Meditation is not the kind of meditation that many of these new age gurus and all they speak about, Here is it possible to meditate, sit and meditate? No way. Right? Hare Krishna, any other thoughts? Any comments? Anybody? No? Somebody sent a message. Will you share this slide? Yeah, I think so. Navanendu, Prabhuji, are these slides? Yeah?
Yes, Mataji.
You have this slide, Prabhuji?
No, I don't have the slides, but I'll get it shared. No problem.
Okay, done. Thank you, Prabhuji. So yes, Mataji, Prabhuji will share these slides. Yeah. Any other question? Any thoughts? Any comments? Hare Krishna. Anybody? Do you want more details? You tell me. For me, it's hard to put a stop somewhere. Do you want more details? Tomorrow we will do verses. Prabhuji, how much of details are you going into? Are you going into a lot of details or just?
Since it is a level 2 class, Mataji, we go in details.
Okay. So was this okay today, or you want more details tomorrow?
No, it was okay. It was perfectly okay today.
Okay.
Yes,
so tomorrow we just have 22 to 26. So which means we will also read some purports tomorrow. Okay. We will also read the purports because it will also help you to kind of, engage in reading the purports and also get a little bit at ease with reading the purports. Okay. Prabhupada's purports are very interesting. And every time you read it, you get a new sense of understanding, a new sense of comprehension. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, that purpose you're telling to read, but I'm not able to find those. How to read and how to watch. I'm not able to do this, Mataji.
Mataji, you are familiar with computer?
Computer, no, Mataji. I'm using only my mobile, Mataji.
You're using your mobile. Mataji, have you bought this book, Bhagavad Gita as it is? Prabhupada's book?
As it is, yeah, it's there, Mataji.
It is there. So tomorrow, please bring your book. Sit with your book. When we're doing the classes, I will guide you as to how to read the purports. Okay?
Oh, now I'm traveling, Mataji, actually.
Anyway, I will show you. I will show you. I will show you. Okay? I will show you. I will show the people. So it will be fine. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
I have
Krishna.
one question. You talk about young son to the Vruddha, you have taken to all the ages of the humankind.
Huh.
But how Krishna maintained the age of 16? What was that vibrancy? What was that vibrancy?
He is Krishna.
Because how we can see going into like teaching to young student of 18, but when we travel like in England, I had a class when I was 21, but I had somebody who is 40 years old, 50 years old, who was retired and who was starting his class with me when we was doing IT. But in India, like I'm teaching in the college, like engineering college, I had like 18 years student to 20 years student. But when today I explained to them about Krishna and Rama, like Krishna's things is everything with the degree. Like I had a concept to teach them the 360 degree in the process dynamics and control, like we control 360 degree. So Krishna is kind of 360 degree.
Right.
Yeah. So everything is Krishna's, was with the degrees. So I have my question is how I can maintain that age, because since for reading that, I'm getting very fast age.
Are you saying how do we maintain our youth? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
You know, Prabhuji, youth is an attitude. Huh? That's what I believe in. Huh? Youth is just an attitude, and the body grows old. But I think, you know, if you look at very many people who maintained, whether it was their professional excellence or the spiritual excellence that are Prabhupada. Why look here and there? Prabhupada, Prabhuji, look at Prabhupada. At what age did he start? And what is it that drew? I think all of you are very senior people here. You must try and see if you can get to reading the memoirs that people have, that his disciples have scripted, about their experiences with Prabhupada. And when you read that, you will see that what drew people to Prabhupada was the simplicity and the childlike innocence that he carried with him.
Yeah, that's correct. I met Prabhuji, I met Mataji in Watford.
Oh, okay.
I went to Watford Hare Krishna Conscious for a number of occasions.
Yeah.
I stayed in England for 15 years.
Wow.
So my Govinda Oxford Street was number one. Whenever I go to central London, I had food at the Govinda restaurant.
Acha.
Yeah.
Very nice. Hare Krishna.
I was there when Prabhuji passed away.
Oh dear. Okay.
So since that time, you purposely, like after 20 years, I came back 1990, 2000. So after 20 years, again, we started with something.
Okay.
With the purpose. Like 2 years, I'm following Krishna's very heartily devoted. Joined with the Ayodhya classes in Hindi, completed their diploma and working on Daksha.
Okay.
They have in Hindi Daksha. Ayodhya, they are also very, when we consider English, I've been to Bangalore a couple of times. Even ISKCON temple at Bangalore is very, very good. Means, yeah, the whole concept is the great. Yeah, that's
perfect.
And that vibrancy and energy you brought from last 7 weeks, what we had, the 8 weeks, that the energy level is completely means Ramakrishna.
Yeah. Yeah, my name is
Rama
Janaki.
and Krishna. So Rama's everything is in straight line, and Krishna's everything with the degree, naughty. Rama is straight.
Anyway, so Prabhuji, you're a senior to me, so please accept my obeisances and my respects to you and to all of you. Thank you so much. So I'm only filling in for Sujata Mataji. Sujata Mataji is a techno managerial person. She is I don't know, she's highly humble, very, very humble Mataji.
Yes.
She is an IITian of
Yes.
mid-70s. She did her BTech from IIT Madras in mid-70s. And then she did her MTech from IISc Bengaluru. And she also has a PhD also from IISc Bengaluru. And she has been a director of a government led organization that is on, I think, power and electricity. Okay, she's a highly accomplished person, and her memory and her ability to connect with not only Bhagavad Gita but also Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very high. She's very soft spoken, but the kind of knowledge she carries is mind boggling.
Yes.
Very humble lady.
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Yeah.
I have BTech in chemical engineering. I done my master's in Leeds University, in Leeds also in Yorkshire, where we go to Headingley cricket ground, where we play. Sachin Tendulkar started his career. And then I got PhD from London University.
Very nice.
So that international Krishna consciousness. So since 89, I'm with them.
Yeah.
Until 2000. Then since I arrived in India, I rejoined into 2020 during the COVID period. Before that, it wasn't possible. We gather in Akola every weekend at badminton club. There is a club in Akola. So we don't have a ISKCON temple yet in Akola. We have a group of people get together at congregations every Sunday only.
Okay, Prabhuji. So really nice interacting with you, Prabhuji, and thank you so much. I think we need people like you as well who will help us in spreading the awareness of Krishna consciousness to a lot of young people who need it the most today. So please, be in touch, with our programs and help us also engage in activities, engage in if you like to teach, then get in touch with Mataji and as well as Prabhuji here, and see how you can support us in education and creating awareness of the Bhagavad Gita amongst people, which is actually the need of the hour. Yeah,
Mataji, it is possible for you give the webinar for 1 hour to the student, engineering college student, if I arrange the Zoom meeting week after week, anytime you have to, like you mentioned about 7 days or 7 chapters of Gita. So similarly covering all 18 chapters in 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour, and then question answer if they have.
So you want it for your group of students, is it?
Yeah, a student group of engineers means I can invite to college admin as well. Means there will be a staff and student.
Okay. So Prabhuji, I think I would like to guide you.
Discuss it, and you can let me know whenever possible, week after 1 hour session, because that's Gita in 18 days. Then we will start that concept, and they will open for the students. Because last year I organized Brahma Kumaris at the college,
Acha.
They came for Raj Yoga 3 days, 4 days at the college.
Okay.
There was minimum like few people because it was online, offline.
Okay.
But online, maybe there were 50 plus 100 participant minimum will be there.
Sure, Prabhuji. That sounds encouraging. So, Navendu, Prabhuji, can you take up this request and carry it to Namanishta Das Prabhuji, because he does a lot. I think he is infectious. Actually, you need to have him there.
Okay.
He's. I don't know if you have heard.
Anyone will do. Because it is.
Yeah.
You looks like you have all the broader knowledge of 18 days in like. So, what the message we have to give to the students that cover in 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Yeah. So, Navendu Prabhuji, can you take this request and try and check with Namanishta Das Prabhuji, because I'm sure his thing will be the best. Yeah, that we can.
Yes, Mataji, I'll take this up with Namanishta Das Prabhuji,
Like
and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Like on Teachers' Day or on Engineering's Day means that because this September is the great.
Sure, Prabhuji. We'll Navendu Prabhuji will definitely get back.
Between 5th of September to 15th of September, that 10 days period from Teachers' Day to Engineers' Day.
Yeah.
Like
Prabhuji, you
between.
Prabhuji, do one thing. Just message me on WhatsApp regarding the same, and I'll forward your request to the head admin, and after that, I'll just forward it. They'll forward it to Namanishta Das Prabhuji, and they'll let you.
I'll look for Navendu in the group and say hi. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'll be the best. Yeah. Okay. So Navendu Prabhuji, in case there's any help required, let me know. I will. If there's any anywhere, let me know, or let Sujata Mataji know. She will take it forward. Okay.
Sure, Mataji. Sure.
So if nothing, I will close the session now. So thank you so much. Tomorrow, yeah. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I have one question.
Yes, Prabhuji.
If someone chant Om sound, does it mean that he will be separated from his family?
No. Who got separated from the family? Lord Krishna lived with his family. Arjuna lived with his family. Lord Janaka, you must have read in chapter 3, Karma Yoga. Janak Maharaj lived with his family. He gave his daughters away in a Swayamvara, getting married to Lord Ramachandra and his brothers. Prabhupada lived with his family, right? He took sannyas after finishing the Grahastha. He took sannyas. See, this today, what happening is none of us give up. We don't want to give up with our lives. Sannyasa means you're wearing the robe. You can, sannyasa also means giving up and giving the ropes of things to the next generation. Move away, step back. Taking the step back is what is Vanaprastha is all about. We can't go to the jungle. There's no jungle in the first place. Where do we go? Which jungle do we go? We'll get eaten away. Even whatever little is there, there's nothing there. Correct? So we can do Vanaprastha remaining in our own lives, no? And where will Om me? See, in my family, everybody says a lot of mantras, and none of us, I don't think any of them went away giving up anything. No, I mean they're all doing their lives. They're all leading their lives. I mean that's what I'm thinking. Om doesn't mean that Om is supreme personality. Om is Mahavishnu. Om is the supreme Parabrahman. That is Om. That you will read in chapter 17. Okay.
Okay, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. If no questions, shall we end this class?
Yes, Mataji.
And tomorrow 8 o'clock. Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhobhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much.
Krishna Mataji.
Yeah. Thank you.